Diego, and you are tuned in to Breaking Down the Breakdown. Today we have Miss Emily talk about her ordeals with anxiety and depression as a combination. Hello, everybody. I need to stop like doing that at the start of every show. Anyway, hi. This is Breaking Down the Breakdown. And I'm Steven Diego. And today we have a super duper special guest. I mean, all of my guests are always super duper special. Just this one is super duper special.
Oh.
I've actually not known her for too long, but it feels like I've known her for a while.
How long has it been now? I don't even know.
A few months.
Yeah. But it's been a good few months.
It has been. It's been really great.
Interesting.
We have Emily in the house.
Hello.
All right, Emily, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. Hey, people. My name's Emily. I'm a friend of Steven's, and I'm here to do this thing with him. Yeah, this Breaking Down the Breakdown. Let's talk about, all my breakdowns and my stress and my mental health. I'm ready for this. Yeah.
I like the way you said all my breakdowns. Because
multiple breakdowns.
I mean, usually when people get on, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about this one thing.
I probably don't have time to talk about all of my breakdowns because there's like quite a few.
But majority of them.
We'll talk about the main ones, you know, and kind of we'll see how it goes. We'll see.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm
open.
That. So, I know that this is kind of sensitive for a lot of people. That's why I'm always super grateful when people say yes to me. So, thank you so much for doing this. What would you like to talk about? What would you like to share with the world? Like, I mean, I always ask people, when did you first, we say break, right? But when I say that, it really means when did you first realize that I might actually need to seek out help?
Yeah.
What was the very first, when was the very first time this occurred to you?
I feel like there were various moments where it occurred to me. It kind of seems like an ongoing, lifelong struggle in a sense. But there was a certain moment where I felt like I was ready, I guess, to seek help and kind of admit that there was an issue and that I needed help and I couldn't solve it on my own. I feel like anxiety, especially, I struggle with anxiety and depression mostly. And I feel like the anxiety was kind of there, always since probably childhood. I kind of thought I was just I was a shy kid, but right. I wasn't really shy. I'm not a shy person.
No.
I just have anxiety. But everyone's just she's shy, she's quiet, but I realize now that's not the case. But so that was kind of lifelong, I guess, and the depression kind of started in later years, probably around puberty, middle school, high school-ish. But I didn't actually seek help until about 2017, which was my third or fourth year, I think, of university. Okay. And it's actually the first year that I was living here in Toronto. So 2017 was a huge year for me. My family made the decision to move cities from Sudbury, where I grew up, to Toronto. And that was my first year. I transferred universities to York, and I was aware that they had they have counseling available at York for students.
Yes.
That you don't have to pay any extra for,
yes.
And they have group counseling,
Apple
one-on-one.
Tree.
Apple Tree Clinic, yes. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I heard about Apple Tree Clinic, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go there. I'm going to talk to the doctor, and we'll see what she says. Maybe she'll give me a referral. Maybe she'll give me medication. Let's see how it goes. It went horribly. I go, and she was like, well, I think you have symptoms of anxiety and depression, but you don't actually have it. So here's some sleeping pills. Take them, and you'll be fine.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So that's how it goes. So I'm just like, okay, maybe it was all in my head. Well, I mean, it is in my head because it's mental. But I was kind of just I didn't know what to do. So I was like, should I get a second opinion? Should I just take the sleeping medication? I mentioned sleeping as one of the issues that I had in general, but it wasn't the main issue, right? I was feeling kind of just really down. I was starting in a new city, a new school. I was also working part-time at the time. I had really no friends. I was just really, really feeling low and just things, I felt like nothing had meaning and that everything was just stressing me out. I was not getting assignments done in time. I was missing work, missing class, and just things were just getting bad. And I knew I had to do something or else things would just get worse, you know? So after that appointment, I was kind of wary. I didn't really know what else to do. I kind of reached out to so there's a counseling office at York. I kind of went in and I was like, hey, this is what happened. I want to know if there's more information, what I can do. And they kind of gave me a list of some other doctors, Apple Tree Clinic, who kind of deal more with mental health, and I suggested I go and see one of those. So I did, and then she ended up giving me a referral, and I was able to see a psychiatrist actually at York, and then I enrolled myself in group counseling, and then eventually one-on-one. So I met with a psychiatrist, we kind of talked about it, and then like she's prescribed me some medication, and we kind of, met a couple times, and I started doing the counseling, and yeah, it's kind of how it all started, I guess, my journey, and here I am now, yeah.
I mean, I think that's amazing because actually, that's so funny. I also went to Apple Tree.
Really?
That's why you say that. I'm like, wait, this sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
Because,
shout out Apple Tree.
Right? Thanks, Apple Tree.
Thanks.
I mean, but no kidding. No, it was. You know what it is? The best way I can put it is, it might not have been the help that we needed at the time, but it allowed us to understand and see that there's actually help that's available. Mm-hmm. So that was really great.
Exactly.
That's
it was like a first. It was a first step,
Yes.
So it was still important. I'm thankful that I did it. It was, it's as someone who has anxiety, you always like fear that like, something is going to go wrong, and like then someone tells you like, oh no, you're fine, you're kind of just like, oh okay, like it's kind of that fear of rejection that I have, and I felt like in a sense that she almost rejected me, or like what I thought was going on with myself, saying, oh no, like that's not what's going on.
Right.
So it took a lot of courage, I guess, and like a lot of thought to go back and try it again, but I'm happy I did, because I met with some great people there, great resources, great therapists, and kind of got myself on like a little plan and got started with recovering from everything. So
but
good.
I was gonna say that's actually very interesting when you said at first that it's like when you were growing up, people just thought you were shy.
Yeah.
But it really is anxiety, and it puts into perspective a lot of people that I've met that I thought were just shy or just very introverted. Mm-hmm. And then when I see them interact with other people, they're like so outgoing, and it's like I don't, like growing up I was like, I would always be like, wow, like people just didn't like me. People just don't like me because they don't interact with me the same way, not realizing that it's actually hard to have that same level of comfort with new people, mm-hmm. as opposed to the people you already knew, right?
That's the thing.
And it's great I'm hearing this now, because now I feel like an asshole because there's been many times growing up where I was like, wow, like am I just not cool enough for you that I can't be that close to you kind of deal, right? And that's actually really sad, because not on my end, but I mean, like on people with anxieties, well, I mean, technically on my end then, but mm-hmm. your kind of anxiety was what I mean, is because a lot of people then prejudge you for
sure.
being closed off, for not being or seemingly as outgoing as everybody else, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I guess this is why you probably not felt, I mean, you said it yourself, pretty much had no friends in university. Mm-hmm. It's because you're probably so scared to just kind of like meet new people. Is that what it is? Like,
it wasn't even being the fear of meeting new people. It was kind of just like, I feel, so there's a kind of separation for me. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Just turn this off.
It's fine.
Kind of separation for me between my old life back home and then my new life here. Whereas like growing up in like that state where I was always the shy girl, even though I wasn't actually shy, that's how people perceived me, right? I kind of felt pressured to like stay that way, and it was hard for me to like reach out of that and like be who I actually wanted to be. So like people labeled me as a shy girl, blah blah blah. So like I felt like if I all of a sudden started to act outgoing or whatever, like people would just like reject me and be like, who is this person, So moving kind of allowed me the space to be whoever I wanted to be, because nobody had any preconceived notions of who I was as a person, right? So that was something that I definitely struggled with before. Like, I felt like there was nothing really to me, and I felt like I didn't really have a personality, because people kind of just labeled me as the shy girl. So
it's almost as if you had to live up to whatever it was that they were. God, I shouldn't realize this mic was fucked up. Like, what the heck? Sorry. Yeah, so it's as if you had to live up to their expectations of being shy girl.
Exactly.
And had to play a part.
Like, it was all I had. Like, there was this one exercise we did, or it was for the yearbook, I think, for grade 8, and it was like, what if this person was completely different than how they are? And, like, they kind of, like, take, like, oh, what if this person, like, this person's really tall? What if they were short? What if this person's creative? What if they were, like, really into math? So you kind of take their, like, main personality trait and, like, change it, and, like, people thought it was, like, a fun thing to do. And mine was, like, what if Emily was outgoing? And I was just like...
Psych plot twist, I actually am!
I'm like, okay, yeah, because that could never happen, right? Like, people just didn't see it that way. And like you said, too, before, is like how people took it personally, like, oh, like, you're too cool for me or whatever.
Yes.
I definitely did actually hear from people that they thought that I was kind of, like, stuck up or whatever when they first met me, which was really surprising because I'm not that way at all. But when I am in new situations, it was really hard for me to kind of open up and just be like, hey, what's up? Like, I was kind of just like, ooh, just afraid of judgment and just to myself and just kind of keeping quiet because that's just what I was used to. But moving really helps me a lot and kind of helped me develop my own personality and like be who I wanted to be in a sense. Like I kind of made a deal with myself when I moved. Like, I'm going to start taking chances. I'm going to start taking risks. I'm going to start doing things and living my life for the first time because I never really did that before. I was just stuck as like this quiet, shy, like introverted person. I didn't really talk too much. I never dated. I never like went to parties, never did anything, you know, like I was just really to myself. So coming to Toronto, I wanted to change that, and that kind of, I feel like that kind of set me up for a breakdown as well, because it was kind of like I was experiencing what most people experience in like their teenage years, you know, as an adult, and like in a new environment.
It's like second puberty, right?
Basically,
it's like, whoa, like
yeah.
I'm starting to become me again.
I was decided like I'm gonna start dating, I'm gonna start like doing all these things I never did before, like, and it kind of just like it was a lot, and I couldn't really handle it, and kind of started spiraling, and yeah.
So that set you up for pretty much a second breakdown.
Yeah.
Now, if I may ask, how are you dealing with that right now?
You know, it's hard. I'm still in therapy now, a different therapist. I'm still taking medications. I actually had to take about 5 different medications to find one that actually worked for me.
5?
Yeah.
Did you find one that worked for you?
Right now, the one I have, like, kind of works. They all have, like, certain side effects that don't really sit well with me, but kind of have to compromise, I learned, and figure out, like, you know, how much side effects can you take before it's too much. And that's basically what it was before. Like, before, I was kind of like, oh, you know, side effects aren't too bad, I can deal with it, but then eventually it got really bad. Like, some of the medications actually, like, made me lose a lot of weight. Like, I lost 10 pounds, and I was, like, really feeling sick and, like, couldn't keep any food down.
Oh, my God.
And I kind of ignored it for, like, a whole month because I was like, mentally, I feel great.
Right, but
physically,
it's just...
I'm kind of deteriorating. It's fine. But after about a month of going through that, like, barely eating and, like, just feeling, like, crap, I like went to my therapist or my psychiatrist at the time, and I was like, you know what, can we like switch it, because I don't think I can do this anymore. But I was just afraid because like I was like, what if nothing else, like, you know, helps my mood, what if this is what I need to take but I have to put up with this, you know. But then I kind of learned through experimentation with different medications that, like, you know, there's more than that. There's many different kinds of medications that help with anxiety and depression issues. So I got to try different ones and different dosages, and eventually found something that worked for me. So
do you mind telling us what that is?
Yes, if I can remember right now. What is it called? I see the bottle every day. I take it every day.
Is this the same one I had?
I think so, the escitalopram. Yes.
Okay.
Which I actually took before and then switched to another one and ended up switching back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the one I'm on right now. I can't remember the dosage, but it works pretty well for me. I take it once a night, and, you know, it kind of, like, I actually wasn't on medication for most of this year. I was kind of just, like, I got off of it.
I remember when I met you a few months ago, you were like, no medication whatsoever. And I remember we were having a conversation about it, and you were just kind of like, you know, I'm gonna go try. Like, why not?
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to see that it's going like so well for you.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I went back because it kind of just helped as like a coping mechanism. Like, I was still in therapy before, but I feel like the medication kind of just helps me kind of balance out more and cope. Right. But even now, still, like, a lot of changes have happened in my life recently, and I've been kind of having a lot of breakdowns lately again. So I'm switching things up. I'm kind of, you know, trying to get into CBT, which is like cognitive behavior therapy. Right. So I got some books on that. I'm looking into it. I'm going to see if I can find a more like frequent therapist, because right now it's about once a month and it's not enough for me. So I'm making adjustments on my own now, trying to find something that works for me. That's the thing, is that, like, even if something works during a certain period of time in your life, eventually, you know, it might not work and you have to change it. Right. Like, for me, I've been going through a lot of changes recently. You know, I went through a breakup, I lost a pet, you know, a lot of things have been changing. I'm moving out, and it kind of does, that's what really triggers my anxiety and depression for me, is just like major changes. Like, the first time I can really remember extreme like depression coming on was when I made the transition from middle school to high school. It was kind of just like a lot for me, and that's when I really felt my first like bit of depression, where I just felt like hopeless and like nothing was good, and like, you know, I'm worthless. And like the same thing happened again when I transitioned from high school to university, and then from that university to a new one. So just like big changes, any kind of changes kind of disrupts my flow, I guess. And
you know, it's great you mentioned that, because I know that a lot of people feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that these people were probably told at some point that they're overreacting, you know? And it's like, well, are they overreacting? It's like, you know, they're like, you know, you just don't want to leave your life behind. You're just not looking forward to the future. And it's so easy to say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to say that, oh, these people just want attention.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't really know what is going on inside their heads. Like you don't know how it affects them.
That's the thing. Yeah, I've definitely been told many times like, oh, you're overreacting and you know you're making a big deal or whatever. And it's hard because people aren't inside your head, so they don't really know how like your thought process is going. Like anxiety kind of spirals. You know, like you think of like one bad thing happens and you think, what if this happens too? And then what if this happens? And like, what if I can't handle it? And what, you know, it kind of just spirals like that. And I feel it on a daily basis, you know, where I kind of have to like stop myself in my thoughts and be like, okay, just breathe, like that's not gonna happen. Like I kind of play a game with myself, like best case scenario, worst case scenario, and then realistic scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kind of go to the extremes on both ends to kind of find a center and then like focus on that and be like, this is likely what's gonna happen. It's likely not gonna be, you know, this really bad option. It's probably not gonna be the best option you want either, but it'll be somewhere in the middle and you can deal with it. That's kind of how
I like that. That's amazing. That's really fucking good.
It's helpful to me. It helps, but
It sounds helpful. Like I mean, you know, I'm gonna probably start doing that. Like I'm doing, it's called it's Socratic questions. Okay, I cannot pronounce it, but it's essentially in the same vein of like you know, tackling on the negative thoughts,
mm-hmm.
and then figuring out like what evidence do you have for the thought like that supports it, what evidence do you have that doesn't support it,
mm-hmm.
and then finding a more balanced thought to kind of counter that. So it's similar, and honestly it's been working wonders because it allows me to be at, so for CBT, because that is what I'm doing right now as well. There's a branch of CBT where it focuses on mindfulness, right?
Yes.
And what you're doing is essentially that, right?
Yeah, I guess
because
it is.
it's allowing you to be on the spotlight watching the show but not being in the show.
Yeah.
Per se, right?
Yeah.
So you're kind of like the director.
Yeah.
Where sure, this is my show, this is what's going on, but guess what? I'm not gonna get involved in it. Like I can see it,
mm-hmm.
and I guess in some ways as a director you can make changes, and that's how you react or respond to what's going on.
You can change how the story goes, right? You can change your own narrative.
Yeah, that's why I like that. That's really great.
That's what CBT is all about. It's how your you know, your thoughts kind of impact your behaviors, and like vice versa, you know, how your behaviors affect your thoughts, and kind of like how you can control that. So I've been reading this great book. It's called Mind Over Mood. I can't quite remember the author right now, but when I worked at Indigo, I remember a lot of customers were really into it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, let me try this. I got it from Amazon. I've been reading it for a couple of days now, and it's kind of just like opening my mind to like, you know, how you can change the way you think so you can ultimately change the way you feel. That's what it's about. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I like that. And I guess this is how you're dealing with it right now then, right?
Yeah, it's how I'm coping right now. I'm trying to focus on myself. Like, things have been really hard lately. I've started a new job, and I'm working from home. It's really isolating.
Oh, crap.
So it's kind of just like, it's just me all the time and my thoughts, and that's my fear. Like, I kind of... The way I know that I'm not an introvert, I'm not a shy person, is that I feel better when I'm around people. Yeah. I'm around my loved ones, my friends, like doing things, socializing, because like that distracts me from like, you know...
Getting in your head, right?
Getting in my head. Yeah. But right now, for the most part, I don't get to do that. I'm at home by myself in my room with like my computer and my thoughts. So I'm really using that as an opportunity, I guess, like on my breaks, on my lunch, to like read these books, do research, and kind of just like focus on changing the way I'm thinking so that when I am alone, I'm not spiraling. And
are you able to find... Well, no, I guess we're in stage 2. Nothing's really fucking open right now. This is going to be a stupid question. But, okay, well...
No, but you can go ahead and ask it.
No, because I was just going to say, like, I mean, is it something that you can work on outside? Like, you can bring on a laptop and go somewhere else to do it?
No, unfortunately, my work, they sent me a PC, actually.
Oh, okay,
so I'm, like,
never mind.
Kind of stuck at home, and it's Yeah, so I'm kind of forced to be alone, which is kind of like, my worst fear in a sense. Like just being alone, I constantly try not to be alone because like my thoughts get to me. So
I feel you. I fucking feel you.
it's
Like,
very scary, but I'm facing my own fear in a way, I guess, by like taking this job in the first place. Like I had a lot of reservations about it, but like, I need the money, so I had to prioritize that and kind of like push past my initial fears about it and just do it. So I'm trying to find ways to cope right now and do what works for me, but I won't lie, it's a struggle every single day. It was a struggle today. Everything's a struggle in a sense, but I'm working through it, and I actually feel confident for the first time in a while that like I can do it and that things are going to be okay and that I'm going to survive. So
I do have to say though, I'm extremely proud of you, because I remember when a few months ago you didn't have a job, you were scared, you wanted to move out. You're trying to figure out what the fuck am I gonna do, and there was a lot of, it's gonna sound a little harsh, but there were a lot of excuses that were made on your end.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
No, I will take full blame for that. Yeah, excuses,
right.
That's my main way of kind of, I don't know. Yeah, it's one of my toxic traits, as they say, is just like coming up with excuses for why I can't make a change in my life, or why I can't do things.
But the greatest part about the whole thing though is I knew somewhere in the back of your head you were listening, and I knew that despite all of your no, it's like this, no, it's like that, there were gears that started to grind.
Yeah.
That for you was just kind of like, okay, well, it's true, but I knew you wanted to do it on your own time.
That's the thing.
So, for us, like, well, for me specifically, I was just kind of like just waiting for it to happen because I knew it. Like, I mean, you've always been the type of person, and this is coming from how you talk to me with my own issues, right? You're so proactive that it came to me as a shock when I first heard you start making excuses. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, and what? Like, yo, this is not... Yeah, I did not. So at that point, I was just kind of confused. But then I was like, you know what? Let's give it some time, because I feel like maybe she is just one of those people that don't like being told what to do and likes to figure it out on her own.
Yeah, I guess in a sense, like I see myself as a person who kind of needs guidance and like wants people to direct me. But if you put it that way, maybe I'm not so much the kind of person. But you know what the thing is that when I was making those excuses, that was my depression talking.
Okay.
So I have depression and anxiety, and they kind of both combat each other. Because anxiety is like, we have to do something, we have to do it. Like, something's bad to happen if you don't do it. But depression's like, I'm not going to do anything, so there's no point. Because no matter what I try, it's going to fail. I'm going to,
that is the
I'm
worst.
just going to suffer, and then I'm going to die, and it's, so they go against each other completely. So I was going through a depressive episode at the time when I was, talking to you guys and kind of just spiraling and basically shooing away every suggestion you had, because I was just like, in my head, I was like, nothing I try is gonna work. I convinced myself of that, and I just wanted to sit there and wallow in that sadness and just like, like I felt like, I don't know, like I wanted myself to suffer in that sense, because I felt like I deserved it, like I was worthless, and nothing I'm gonna do was gonna change anything.
And you know what? On that note, I do want to say, I know most of the people that's listening right now or watching has probably encountered a friend or two that had said the exact same thing. And I just want you guys to kind of sit back, recall that conversation, and ask yourself how you responded to them saying that to you. Because I feel like a lot of us really, just to get our own points across, try to undermine how that person feels at the time.
Yeah.
For us, we were like, no, this is a bunch of bullshit. I've seen you through worse. I know you can do this. And it's like, guys, it's different. Every single day is different.
It really is.
So, I'm sorry you actually feel that way ever. But at the same time, I'm so glad you shared that, because, that was a great opportunity to just shed some light on that. Because like you telling me this right now, like, yes, I understood you were going through a depressive state, but because of the way you were talking to us, it didn't come off like that, right? It came off as super just defensive. I don't want to hear what you have to say. This is me.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is where you start to understand there's so many layers that needs to be peeled back before you actually truly understand a person's intent with what they're trying to tell you.
For sure, yeah. Like sometimes, like I guess sometimes what I say and what I actually need in that moment is different. Like what I'm asking for and what I need. Like sometimes I'm saying I'm asking for help and like it seems like I want suggestions, but really in that moment maybe what's most comforting is actually just someone saying like, oh, like I understand you're going through a hard time right now, your feelings are valid, but like you're like you're not hopeless, you're not worthless, like just some reassurance and just some also acknowledgement that like, hey, like yeah, you're going through this and I understand it's hard, and saying things like, oh, like you're the one who's making yourself unhappy, like just decide to be happy and you'll be fine, like that kind of stuff isn't helpful.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah, and I understand it comes from a good place, like people are trying to say like, you're in charge of your own, emotions, blah blah blah, and like you are, but in that moment like it doesn't feel like you are, you feel out of control. So people telling you that you are in control even though you don't feel in control, sometimes it doesn't help so much. Just being there and just being supportive and just saying, like, you can do this, I believe in you, and like, everything's gonna be okay, is sometimes better. But like, it's my fault too, because I do go out there being like, help me guys, like what am I supposed to do, and then I say no.
Right.
So that's what I'm working on too right now, is kind of just like leaning on myself more than others, like knowing that I can lean on others if I need to, but like knowing when like I'm actually open to getting, I guess, help,
right,
and knowing when I just need to like calm myself and kind of just like,
get the reassurance that you need at the time, right?
Exactly. That's the thing, is also like CBT is also about kind of identifying your moods, identifying like what you're going through or your thoughts, and that's something that like I think I know myself really well and I know what's going on in my head, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I need to kind of like look into it more and kind of like examine it to really know, okay, what's going on and why am I feeling like this, and it's complex.
I mean, you sound like you are on the right track, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, thank you.
You
I'm
really
glad.
do, and that's coming from from me who's going through it right now, because it's hard to acknowledge what you're going through, let alone find solutions yourself. And you've done both of them. And as my therapist tells me, like the fact that you're able to acknowledge what you're going through, you're already miles ahead of a lot of other people. And this is the whole purpose of this podcast, right? It's because I want people to just kind of wake up and say, hey, like, I am going through something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should start now to try and, get help.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing. Thank you for, for everything you've said today. Like, that's been really great. We are running low on time. We have to go soon. Before we go, I do have to ask, do you ever wish some days that you don't have to deal with this?
Oh, of course. Every day. And one of the biggest challenges for me is kind of like not understanding why I have to deal with it. Like a lot of things people do that they shouldn't is compare themselves to others. Like I think like my life hasn't been so hard, like why am I dealing with this, like like I should be happy, like I have so many great things in my life, why am I feeling this way, and like you kind of have a guilt associated with it. So what I would say to other people, like whoever feel that way, is like don't feel that way. Like there's sometimes there's a reason for how you're feeling, sometimes there's not. Like, it could just be a chemical imbalance in your brain, or maybe there's something there that you just need to kind of, like, look within yourself to kind of find it, And that's what it took for me, is kind of just self-discovery, and just, like, just self-discovery, and kind of helped me come to peace, I can't even speak right now. It helped me.
It happens.
Yeah, I can't speak. It helps me, I guess, feel not really at peace. Like, I'm not happy I have this, but I understand that I have it, and that's kind of my own personal battle,
Right.
Like, I always talking about how I want to be stronger, like, I want to get stronger, and, like, this is my battle that I have to overcome to get stronger, This is the battle I have to fight, and I'm going to fight, and I'm going to win, and I'm going to come out stronger in the end.
Yeah.
So, does it suck that I am dealing with it? Yes. But it's part of my personal journey, and it's what's going to make me who I am, and what's going to make me better, and, also dealing with this helps me do one of the things I love doing most in the world, which is helping other people. So the fact that I have this experience means that I can share my experiences like I am now with others, and hopefully help them, get the help that they need, or kind of get answers, or kind of, have someone they can say like, hey, that's like, I went through that too, like that's me, because identifying with others is like, it's the best thing. Like you want to see people that are going through the same things as you, so you don't feel alone.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So if me having this burden, in a sense, helps other people not feel alone and helps other people get through it, and it's worth it.
I fucking agree 100% with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't have the issues that you're dealing with, you wouldn't be making this podcast, right?
No.
So you kind of see how, like, the things that you're dealing with in life, they affect your decisions and what you do.
It truly does.
Yeah.
It truly does. And, you know, I think it's a blessing in disguise, and I really feel like some of us just needs to tap into it. Just kind of, like, dive in, right? Yeah. Because we don't know how many people are actually going to end up helping get out of the hole that we were once in.
Exactly.
Right? Or we're still in, slowly crawling ourselves out of there.
That's the thing, yeah.
No, but that amazing. Honestly, you almost made me cry a billion times tonight.
Oh no!
I hate you so much. It's probably gonna see on you're gonna see it on camera. Me just looking at you, and I'm just kind of like, great. And it's like, oh, I'm just glad. My eyes red? No, they're not. Anyway, unfortunately, we are pressed on time now. We have to go. This has been great.
It has.
I wish we could have kept talking.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I feel like we're just scratching the surface.
I know.
But I'm sure you'll be back.
Honestly, yeah. Anytime you want me back, I'll be back. Yes. I was really afraid to do this, as you know.
I remember. Oh my! She was not even gonna do it.
I didn't want to do it. I was like, sorry, Steven, I can't.
I do have to say this before we go. I told her, I'm like, you know, you can talk about yourself. Like, I'm gonna be like, okay, like, introduce yourself. And she goes, I don't even know who I am. And I'm like, Emily, what?
I read like, way too much into it. That's the thing. I started spiraling. So I was like, who am I? How do I even explain myself? I don't even know what to say. Like,
I was dying. I'm like, what? Do you mean like who I am as you know me? And I'm like, what? I'm like, this is taking on like a completely different form now. Can you relax? But look at her. Such a natural.
Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty scared at the beginning, but as we kept talking, I started to feel a lot better, and I'm really glad that I did it, and definitely, I'm willing to come back anytime and keep talking about this, because honestly, like, talking about it does help me too, kind of, like, you know, gives me that other perspective, and, like, just reinforces, you know, the journey that I'm on and what I'm trying to do right now, so it's really comforting, actually, to sit here and talk to you about it.
I'm so glad. That's really all nice. I ever really wanted to do. Yeah. I'm glad, but yes.
And I feel like I kind of, you know, beat one of my own personal battles. Like, you know, I've never done something like this before in my life.
I have never heard you say that before. That's why when you said it, I was like, shit, yeah. That is it. You know?
I don't often admit when I do that because sometimes, you know, I don't like to, you know, say stuff like that because of, you know, but...
Doesn't it feel great, though?
It does feel great to kind of admit and be like, hey, like, I won today. Yeah. Like, I didn't want to do something. I was super scared, but I did it anyways. And hey, I'm alive. I survived. I'm not dead right now. Exactly. Wow. Who knew?
Glad. I'm just so glad.
I'm glad as well.
Good.
I feel good right now.
You will be back.
Yes.
We will figure this out.
Yes.
Guys, I just want to say thank you to Emily for being here. Thank you guys for listening / watching if you are watching. Remember, if you have any questions for Emily or myself, or if you want to be on the show, just talk about your experiences, StevenDiego@hotmail.com. That's STEPHEN Diego@hotmail.com. I think it's in my profile, but maybe not.
I think so.
I feel like people are emailing the wrong Steven, whoever the Steven is. I'm sorry. Steven with a V is probably getting like, hey, so I want to talk about mental health, and this guy's probably like, what the fuck?
Like, who are these people?
Sorry, Steven. But anyways, this is Breaking Down the Breakdown. Unfortunately, we have to go now. I do have not a couple of surprises. I do have maybe I'll just say it now. Maybe not. We're kind of running. Oh my god, it's fine. You know what? I'm actually going to extend the show by 15 minutes in the next few episodes because we have somebody special that's coming. It is a friend of mine, Chanel Hines. We can call her Dr. Chanel Hines after a few. Ooh. She is doing her PhD, I believe. And she actually has a background in all of this. How she will come into play, you will find out next episode. So stay tuned. Breaking Down the Breakdown with Steven Diego and Miss Emily over here. I don't know if you want to say your last name, so you know.
I don't
yeah,
like
there you go.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This has been great. And keep watching Steven's show. See what happens next.
You're sweet. Thank you. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good whatever. And remember, guys, be compassionate. Open yourselves up. Because you never know who you're going to help out in the end. And it's always a great feeling.